Dear students, I hope you all are safe and healthy. My name is Ankita and I am teaching as an assistant professor in Department of Computer Science and Engineering at St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management, Gurugram. I welcome all of you to the lecture 17th of my online lecture series of object oriented programming, and in this video we will study further topics of unit 1. In previous video we studied encapsulation and abstraction and interfaces and implementation of a class, and in this video we will study further concepts or the important features of object oriented programming. So an object oriented programming consists of set of objects. That means a class can have as many objects as it requires, which communicate with each other by sending or receiving the information, and that information is transferred in form of the methods or the messages. A message for an object is a request for the execution of a function, and therefore it will invoke a function in the receiving object that generates the desired results. So as in this diagram you can see, the uh, employee is the object name, dot membership operator, salary is the method or the function which acts as a message, and in this message uh, the information is passed as the parameter, that is name. So polymorphism is another important aspect. Polymorphism says one name many form. We can use a same name function for executing multiple functionality or operations. So polymorphism in C++ can be achieved by two ways: runtime polymorphism or late binding or dynamic binding. And the second one is compile time polymorphism, early binding or static binding. So further, these two types have virtual functions and function overloading and operator overloading. We have seen the detail of these chapters of polymorphism in previous videos as well. Next comes the data hiding. Data hiding is a process of combining data and function into a single unit. So in C++ we does that with the help of objects. The ideology behind the data hiding is to conceal data within a class, to prevent it from outside access, or to prevent it from the functions which are outside of the class. So both the data hiding and data encapsulation, they are important features. Data hiding hides the data only, whereas the encapsulation hides the class data parts and the private methods also. So usually the data within a class is made secured with the help of access specifiers, and we have three type of access specifiers: private, public and protected. Private methods can be only accessed within the class or by the methods which are defined inside a class. Data is most often defined as a private to prevent it from the direct access from the outside class. Public methods are accessed anywhere inside the program or outside the program. But yes, if you want to access public data members outside the class scope, but again we need to have the objects. We can do that with the help of objects only. Class methods are usually made public because they are the segments which are used to manipulate the data present in the class. So general rule says that data should not be declared as public, but member functions can be made or should be made public so that they can get access outside the class or in the main function. Protected data members, on the other hand, they are the private within a class and are available for the private access in the derived class also. So in case of inheritance, protected works similar as the private access specifier. So this, with the help of this example sample, data hiding is achieved. Here we have two methods which are made public: read and print, and int is a private data member. So this is the way to create an object: sample class name and object name, which object name is user defined, so user can give any name to the object. So instead of obj you can take anything. So with the help of this dot membership operator you can call the member functions. Now comes the classes and the objects. We know that classes are the sketch or blueprint of any algorithm. Consider a consider an example of a house. It contains all the details about the floors, doors, windows, etc. So far we have created many classes in our syllabus. Okay, so those class contains the data members and the member functions basically. Based on these descriptions which we use as data members and member functions, we build the complete program or complete class. So similarly, houses can be multiple, like every house is having the floors, the doors and the windows. So one house is representing all the houses in the colony. So one house becomes the object in that case. Okay, so a class is a factory that is able to mass produce objects. A class can have as many objects as it requires. The programmer provides a class with a blueprint of the desired type of object. Blueprint is actually composed of the declaration of set of variables that the object will possess. They are known as data members. The declaration of the set of operations that the object will provide, and the set of function definitions that implement each of these operations. So a blueprint will actually be having these three types. The set of variables possessed by each object are called instance variable. The set of operations that the object provides are called methods or the functions. And when a program wants to new instance of an object, it asks the appropriate class to create a new object for itself. Okay, so one more thing you should remember here: when we create any object, only at that point of time the memory is allocated for the class. When we create class does not allocate any memory or does not hold any memory until we create its object. So each object knows which class created it, so that when the operation is requested for that object, it can look up into the class, the function that implements the operation, and call that function. So how we can specify a class? This is the method. Class keyword will be used, then class name, then some data members and the member function will be there. This is the example demo wherein we have data 1 and data 2 as two private data members, and function 1 and function 2 are as the public member functions. So this is the way to create any class or specify any class. On the other hand, objects are the instance of the class, and object oriented programming paradigm is based on the concept of object. So initially the object oriented languages were geared toward modeling real world objects, so that the objects in a program corresponds to the real world object. So examples you can consider like simulations of a factory floor objects represents machine and the raw material. Simulation of a planetary system objects represent celestial bodies such as planets, stars, asteroids and gas clouds. PC desktop object represent a window, document, program and the folder. So an operating system, in the case of operating system, object represents system resources such as CPU, memory, disk types, mics and the other input output systems. So the idea with the object is that it advertises the type of the data it will store and the type of operations that it allows to manipulate the data. For a real world analogy, consider the example of a radio. So because here we are talking about the objects, they also have the concept of data hiding, because this is the single unit in which you and covers or you hide the data and the member function. Usually what happens is all the objects in a class, they share different copies of the data members, but only one copy of a member function will be shared by the all objects. Okay, so that is the reason the message passing concept came into existence. So abstraction is another important feature which we have seen in the previous video, which says that the implementation will be hidden from the user, but it will be given the output. For example, the television and the radio, how the actual data is converted and given to you, that is hidden from you, but you will get the output. Okay, so the next is, you can consider the example of stack as well, which provides a set of operations like push, pop and top, and is empty. And if the stack is implemented as an object, its implementation will be hidden from the program, so it may be implemented as an array or a queue or some other data structure. So all the content is written inside the class module, but the object is the only entity which is created outside the class and which will act as the representative of that class. So object here is providing the abstraction that it will not provide you the complete code written inside the class, but it will provide you the member functions, and it will not give you data directly, but it is providing you the data member, and that will be called with the help of dot membership operator. So that is also providing the concept of abstraction here. Okay, so the set of operations provided by the object is called its interface, and the interface defines both the name of the operations and the behavior of these operations. The interface is a contract between the object and the program that uses it. So we have seen interfaces in the previous video. Any object that acquire the contract from the other objects that can be used interchangeably by the program. Hence, the implementation of an object can be changed without affecting the behavior of the program. Consider the program that we can replace a stack object that is implemented as an array with a stack object that is implemented as a queue without affecting the behavior of the program. So it is happening outside the class, so behavior of the class will not change. When a class is defined, only the specification of the object is defined. No memory is allocated at that point of time. So we have seen that how we will define the objects in the C++. So again, we have a class demo, and in this class I have created the two objects O1 and O2. So class members are obviously data members and member functions. So how we are going to access the class members? Class is a collection of data member and member functions. So whenever variable or the function we declare inside a class, they become members of that class. So function are also known as the methods, and with the help of dot membership operator we can access the data members and member functions of the class outside the class scope. So there is again one example of demo. So I have used one example in the complete video, so you can run it on the online editor and look at the output. So these programs we have done many times in the classes as well, so that's why I'm not going to run it on the online editor. So class demo is here. We have one name variable as a string, which is a data member, and we have made it a public. So if you want to access any data member outside the class, as you have done here in this obj1.name, you are assigning name the value Abhi. So if you have created it as public access modifier, only then you are able to write the value here. If it is public, you cannot assign the value here. In this point of line, object1.name is equal to Abhi, it will produce an error in that case. So to call the member functions, you need to have the object1 dot and the function name. So this is the output of the program. In this video we have completed the other concepts of the C++. In this complete big paragraph I have written many examples for your understanding about the classes and the object. So this was all about the further topics or the concepts of objects and classes and the other object oriented programming concepts. We will have next topics in the upcoming videos. Thank you so much. Take care.